One of these two ladies will be our fourth semifinalist in women's 5-pin play here at the Canadian Bowling Championships. Jennifer Marshall from Calgary, or Theresa McKenzie from Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Jennifer Marshall to lead it off. 248 in the first game. Pretty solid game. 12 for 12 on the middle. 5 strikes. 4 for 4 in corner pin spares. Great lift right at the release on his shot. So smooth. Hardly hear the ball hit the lane, and yet she gets good lift on it. Theresa got to get off to a good start here. Well, missed the middle. Thought maybe the end of that game where she started to maybe throw the ball a little more aggressively, and she looked more comfortable at the end of that game. Might get her off to a good start.
Nicely done to pick up the spare, so both bowlers opening with marks in the first.
Just catches a piece of the head pin, but on the big side, on the 5-3-2 side. Converts the spare.
Would you agree with me that confidence may be a fragile thing for Theresa?
I mean, said in the opening, you know, she's not confident about being able to beat the big guns from Saskatoon and Regina, and maybe part of that here as well. Although she's certainly got the ability. The confidence thing is the issue. First time on TV, first time she's never made a C5 or a Masters Nationals team. So she maybe doesn't have quite as much experience as some of our other competitors. Work out.
Would you speed her up at all?
No, I don't think it's a question of speed. That's fine. I'd be a little bit concerned about the length of her slide. That can sometimes have an effect on arm swing. She's a little bit upright at the foul line, but all those things are individual things as well, and it's whatever you're comfortable with, however you were taught. You just take everything that you do and try and make it consistent.
So the open frame, and she's 30 through the first couple, and now Jennifer Marshall working on a strike in one. And another one.
Great release. Time the bowling ball moved just a little bit more. Right hand pocket going away, and she still covers up the right corner pin.
Jennifer Marshall, a former 2-time Pins Game champion out of Calgary, has 2 strikes up against Theresa McKenzie from Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Oh boy. Yeah. Great reaction. You break up splits like that, or potential splits like that, because of location and rotation.
You look where this hits. And it just moved late again.
It did, yeah. And when the bowling ball hit the head pin, you can see how much it moved to the right. That's the rotation she had on it.
Theresa McKenzie needs to get something going here. I mean, it has a potential of being slipping away from her very quickly. And nice cover.
On the inside again, covered it up, but she's got to hit the middle on the first ball here and try and get some pin count. Right over the center arrow. A little bit of movement left to right on the lane surface. Better shot. Decent reaction that time. She was thick, right side. Left corner pin, and she'll go stand far right. Throw it pretty much straight over third arrow, and not much movement. Right on it.
Very nice. So keep some pin count going with back-to-back spares. But Jennifer Marshall now is working on 3 strikes. I find it interesting, Jennifer, with all her success, has never bowled the perfect game.
Perfect game's kind of like a hole-in-one in some respects. You have to be a little bit lucky to get one. And in 5-pin, they're very difficult to come by.
More difficult than 10-pin?
Much more difficult. That's just a great shot again. Right hand pocket, back up, going away from it a little bit. She wanted that one to break really hard. She got it a little bit on the inside.
Now, the unwritten rule in baseball about perfect games, you don't start even talking about it until you maybe get to 7, get to the 8.
That's true.
When do you start talking about it in bowling?
I'm still bowling some 10-pin, and in our league, you get 8, 9 in a row. People are starting to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Does everybody ignore you and just let you do your thing? Nobody talks to you as they're doing that?
It depends who you are. If it's a Jack Way or some of the guys that have had 12 and 13 of them, there's a certain amount of harassment that goes on. I think if it's somebody's first one, they pretty much leave them alone.
So the open, but 15 count, 165 through 5. But for Theresa McKenzie, that's what she needed as well. She needed to stop that. Oh, now that's a tough break.
A really tough break. Again, not a bad shot, but she's just not breaking anything up. Right dead on the head pin. Punches the 3-pin out and then gets a bad break on that right corner pin not falling over.
And again, you point out, it isn't because she doesn't really throw a heavy ball or a hard ball. She's just off the mark a bit. She can still get strikes with the way she throws.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, she hasn't bowled a lot of outside maybe of Yorkton, so not a lot of experience in making adjustments to different lane conditions and even different surfaces. This is wood lanes here. I don't remember if Yorkton's a synthetic surface or not, but that can have a huge effect on the way the ball reacts and the way you react.
And you can see how those 4 strikes really have given Jennifer Marshall a big jump.
71-pin lead currently. Now, Theresa, rather, she just doesn't look comfortable. Can't find the middle. 6th frame now, and she's only hit the head pin twice. There you go.
Nice job. And if you're Jennifer Marshall stepping up now, again, and you're related to other sports, she knows she's in control here. By the same token, she just has to maintain her focus because, suddenly, if Theresa's able to string something together and she loses, a couple of opens, doesn't get the full pin count, it can turn around just as quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Anything can happen. Theresa's still got 304 remaining. Jennifer runs into head pin problems. The game can turn around very quickly.
You think you're pretty good, don't you?
No, I wouldn't wish head pins on anybody. But in this game, it makes such a huge difference. An open frame against 3 in a row.
Sure.
You know, pick up 30 pins very quickly in every frame. So the game can turn on a dime.
Nicely done. But that's back-to-back opens, 215 counts, and 180 through 6 for Jennifer Marshall.
She might look at this and make a little bit of an adjustment here, just to try and make sure the ball's on the side of the head pin.
So you moving left, right, maybe?
Depends on Jennifer. She might move up a half a step or a quarter of a step just to change where the ball breaks on the lane. Wow. Open with 4 strikes and now 3 head pins in a row.
And talking to herself a little bit. Now it's interesting you say that, because for the person who doesn't bowl a lot, I guess I would think the tendency would be to either move left or right, trying to change your angle of attack.
You can do that. That's the normal kind of move that everybody would make. Move left or right to change the angle.
I'm a normal kind of guy.
Yes, you are. Change the angle, but when the ball is breaking on the lane surface, that has a big effect on it too, because it changes the angle. So by moving up or back, you change where the ball makes its move on the lane, and you can change the angle just a little bit. Depends on how much hook or curve or backup you've got on it, how hard you throw it.
So that's 11. 3 straight opens now for Marshall. 191. It's there if Theresa McKenzie can put something together. So there's the strike for her in the 7th. So that's back-to-back marks, a spare and a strike.
Didn't really look like she did anything a whole lot different that time. Left-hand pocket. You just hit her mark exactly where she wanted.
Now the potential is a 326 for Marshall, 304 for Mackenzie, and see, that's what she can't afford.
No, absolutely not. Now that potential drops to 274. So the more times she misses the middle, the more that potential drops.
And it further indicates what we talked about earlier with regards to Sandy Anderson, who saw last week. A person of that experience is given that opportunity. That door is opened, and more often than not, they're going to walk right through. They're going to just jump all over you.
Absolutely.
And this chance for Theresa, now she's going to get better, and probably as she grows in her career with experience, is probably going to learn to do that. But that is something that's acquired.
It is, over a lot of games, over a lot of match play, pressure kinds of situations. It's not something that you get just by bowling kind of in your regular league play typically. You have to compete at the highest levels to understand what it takes to win.
Leaves up the right corner. But a better ball, would she feel better about herself with that throw?
Absolutely.
Better, so after 3 opens, picks up the spare.
And better about both shots she made, not only the first ball attempt, but also coming back and making the spare. Jennifer's watching the scoreboard as well. She knows exactly what Theresa has left and what she needs to get to win this match. Wow.
How many's that now?
4. 4 strikes, 4 head pins, and a right corner. Again, Jennifer, quick check on the scoreboard. She knows she's got to get to 258 to lock this match up.
Takes care of the left side.
Still possible. The thing is, Theresa's going to finish first. She'll get up in the 9th and the 10th frames. If she gets the 4 in a row to finish with the 257, Jennifer will be sitting on the bench, knowing that she needs 35 to win the match. So what it does is it forces Jennifer to get a double in the 10th frame. If Theresa can strike out here.
So here's one of those opportunities, and she responds.
And that's a great first shot at it. Now, lane 33 hasn't been very kind to her. One corner pin back in the 4th. Other than that, she hasn't hit the head pin in 3 previous attempts.
Oh, yes. My goodness.
That's a really good shot under pressure from somebody who probably hasn't really been there before.
No. One more. Coming back. No.
She missed it left all the way, and because she doesn't have much movement on the ball, it just no chance, no way to come back. She cleans this up. She'll have 232. Force Jennifer to count 10 in the last frame.
No, she'll leave 5 on the deck for a 227. And right now, Jennifer Marshall sitting at 223.
Again, keep it on the lane and stay behind the foul line.
And that's just with emphasis as Jennifer Marshall will advance and become our 4th semifinalist.
A little bit more freewheeling that time. No pressure. All she had to do was keep it on the lane. So first chop off in 2 games for Jennifer.
Potential for a 253, and remember against Tammy Walchuk, she pulled a 248. So right around her league average at the Toppler Bowl of 256. Nicely done. Off to that very good start with 4 strikes. That gave her the early jump, and then she was good. But look at the head pins and how she was able to handle those. And then she closes with a strike spare for a 253, and Jennifer Marshall advances to the semifinals of the Canadian Bowling Championships.